Hey guys, welcome to the second part of the show, Struggles of Job Search. Priti, I'll just start with you. How should one address career gaps in their CVs?
Sure thing. So, when we're talking about career gaps, what immediately comes to our mind is, of course, the woman lot, isn't it? So, career gaps is equal to woman's, life because whether or not we like it, whether or not we are prepared, career gaps happen all the way. So, in different stages of life, and these, need a broader acceptance from the corporate world. I think there's a lot of change that has come in now, and people are more accepting of it. I will not deny that. However, what we need to also realize is how we are handling these career gaps. So, when it comes to projecting them on a resume and also, taking it further for discussions, we need to be, first of all, honest about what the career break was about and how much longer it lasted. What is the duration of the gap? And in that gap, what phase of career were you taking that break? Is it early in your career or mid level, or that you need to articulate in your resume and in person too? Why I am saying that is because that articulation will also give avenues of what you covered in that career gap. Career gap is not an idle time, according to me. Whether or not women, for example, whether or not we are, opening our laptops and learning something, there's a lot of management that, grooms us in that time. Okay, we come to consensus with reality, and that is very stark, and that self learning momentum is very high then. So and as women graduate through different stages of life, maturity, tact, experience, confidence, I have seen women who come back after maternity breaks. They gleam with that newfound confidence because now they're different people, different individuals. They're responsible for another entity or a creature. So that confidence percolates in how they're coming across, and they're running households. I think that needs to be coming out very easily without inhibitions. And if women are able to vocalize that with enough charge and confidence, that itself is a selling point. There's nothing to be feeling ashamed of. A career break will happen because it is a woman's body, and we will have to go through whatever changes that happen. So once we are able to translate that on in resumes and in interviews, that is where you are saying that you're capable of handling this transition. That is the first pitch. I'll allow to Chiranjeevi to add some more points, and then I will take cover from there. Yeah.
Okay. So I think one point which always comes to my mind, particularly for women, right? This is something which I have seen. Most of the women, when they write their resume, right, at the second page or at the ending, they write their personal details. Which talks about their name, father name, and stuff, right? But I really wanted to tell to all the folks, don't write your marital status like you are married or single, because it doesn't matter to an organization, right? Because organization will select you based on the skills that you have. One of trend that I have seen right now, it was not there, but 4 to 5 years back, whenever some of the HR, when they see somebody as married, and one of the obvious question that used to come during the interview is like, when are you planning for the children? I really get frustrated when people ask these type of questions because it doesn't matter at all, and it is very private information, and nobody need to tell to anybody, either for a job or anything, right? It is very private, and people have to remove their marital status, whether married or single. It's completely private and nothing to do with the organizations. And people, when they ask about these intimidating questions, right, like when you're planning for children or when you're planning to get married, I think you need to clearly talk vocal, like that is nothing to do with the business. You let me know, like, what are the other ways that I can contribute at the work, and certain things are too personal and that doesn't come to the work. Because I personally have seen many strong women who are during the maternity period also, like they have contributed do their best. Okay, organization think like if people are at the maternity break, they might not contribute, but I have seen people who are contributing during their 6th month, 7th month as well, and they just don't want to log off and stuff. I think they come with lot of um, responsibility. So I request people just don't keep this martial status. And if somebody people ask about question like, are you planning a child or a marriage? Please try.
It's frozen.
Yeah, I think there's some network issue at his side. No problem.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I another thing that I wanted to ask you was the transition from one department to another. Like, how does one like take care of that? Because that becomes a bit of an issue. I mean, as a recruiter, even I kind of have trouble, placing somebody. So, suppose if like if somebody who is 1 second, I think. Yeah, so somebody who's in marketing looking to make a switch into HR or something, how does one manage that? Because that becomes very, very difficult.
True that. I think this is very typical question and very suitable for me to answer it because I've been there and done that myself. So, having been in the marketing arena for 4 or 5 years in the initial stint of my career, I knew that the childbearing stage and the subsequent stages of childcare would be very taxing, and I would not have energy, physical strength enough to complete a full day job of going on the field and coming back home to take care of nursing young children. So I had to make that big compromise and sit back and take a breather. So, but then what was very inspiring for me is that the new experience was grooming me internally for something which is vast and which is a role which is much mature. And then I wanted to touch HR and see what I could contribute as a person who's able to run and manage multiple things at home. So that transition was more in my mind, and I was ready to do that in an organization too. Like this, there are several women out there, not only women, men too, for that sake. See, in the initial few years, you are just, testing the waters to see what suits you best. By the time really nail down and say, okay, this is my passion and this is where I want to be, it's already 4 or 5 years down the line. And then once you identify your strength and you want to take a deviation into something special or something specialized, there's no stopping, because if you're able to prove why you did that, or why you're logically going into that way, then I don't think anybody is going to question that, the right or wrong of it. If you are right, then you're right. Nobody needs to have a say in one's own, your own career, because if the organization wants to take you at that, they take you, because they know you are brave enough to say, okay, I went this way and then I had to take a diversion to specialize in a niche that I was comfortable in. So I explored and ventured into this. I feel like I'm having potential to prove a point here or do my value contributions in this area, and I have a strategy which is clear cut and I know where I'm getting. So if this communication is clear, then that directly qualifies you to do whatsoever, take deviations and explore multiple options too. So
In
that's
fact,
how cool it is.
this is one of the issues that I actually face with a lot of women. Like the two questions we just discussed, they actually get collaborated because what happens is that your career with most of the women, your career is actually decided by the career of your husband. So if he's
Yes.
moving, especially if the husband is into a moving job wherein he's getting transferred every couple of years or so, what happens is that then women have to manage their career in such a way that they probably can work from like work remotely or something like that. Salary kind of becomes a secondary issue wherein the first thing first is obviously being able to support the household, etc. uh, but like how did you manage it in terms of like did you do some course, did you like how should one should do that? So suppose let's take an example. If you're in marketing and looking to get into HR, maybe you do something in HR, like some sort of course, certification, and then how do you go about approaching people and everything?
Yes, so true that. So what we need to be doing consciously is to invest that time in hand effectively towards the direction that we want to choose or take. Because then if you're investing in something for yourself, like upskilling or completing some certifications which are really valuable in the market, that's an easy entry card to your interviews or whatever interactions you want to have with the corporates, because you're telling them a very strong message that you're willing to put time and energy and effort in that direction. Okay, and then you're grooming yourself. Nobody is going to give you a lead position as soon as you re-enter, that too in a new field. But then the openness or willingness to learn and the grit that you're showing there, that I'm going to kill this, come what may, I'm not going to give up, or that grit you need to display, that demonstrated adequately well. So, and see, there's also sometimes our women, they buckle down under the pressure that I shouldn't talk too much about my break. It feels like I've slept all these days without doing putting productive use of my time. So all these guilt pangs, they need to let go. Okay, everybody who's interviewing probably has women at home, and everybody is acquainted about these things that happen in life, and nobody is going to find fault. Even if they do, you have the right to attack back and say, guys, you know what,
It's
just
all
like
part of
people at
life,
your home, yeah, we too have our lives, and we don't want to compromise career just because we have babies at home, or that anything that comes our way. And shifting locations because the husband has to move, that has been a long forever problem, and it has put a barrier on several women's careers because they cannot take too much deviation. What I'm saying is, make the most of the situation. Okay, if the husband is moving to another place, you determine what your career can yield in the long term in the current city. Is it going good in terms of your growth, your earning potential, okay, your ambition or goal? Okay, is it still going to yield? Then make a right choice and say, you know what, you still want to give it a shot here, and at a later point you can always rejoin. So I think
That's in
Chiranjeev
fact
is
one of
back.
the biggest issues. I've seen a lot of women who are like very talented, very well educated, and due to this, materiality and going the family way, they just have to, shift their entire lives. Kind of completely take a U-turn from where
Going
they were.
going inward versus going outward, that is what we need to learn as women. If you are very shy and not wanting to be accepting of that, oh my God, and you want to hide it, but you are brave enough to open it out and say, yes, I had a career break because of this reason, but now I'm ready because I use this time and so, and I have a direction I want to take. I'm willing to upskill and I'm willing to grow through a growth channel. If you deliver this, I don't think organizations will be insensitive to logical or genuine breaks.
Companies have become more receptive to these ideas these days as well.
True,
I
true.
mean, we talk about
Yeah.
diversity, inclusion, and all those things. So I mean, I'm sure the companies are definitely willing to look at these things. You know,
If
Chiranjeevi,
possible, I
True.
would,
Yeah.
sorry,
yeah, I would advocate two strong things here, just in the same context. I only wish, at least on India side, we were more inclusive of things that would enable women to be able to continue careers in terms of extending child support or childcare support, or something that's remote job and stuff like that, even more flexibilities, because that is the need of the hour. You want women to come on the top, then you're not giving them adequate facility. How is it fair? So those things need to be coming from the government and the corporates, because the potential is very high. Unused, untapped potential is very high. If you want all of us to come to, be earning members, you better facilitate that kind of a provision, so we are free to work and then take care of household stuff too. So that's my two cents.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. I have one important point here since we are talking about diversity, right? Um, I'll also break one fundamental myth which was there in the organization aspect. We should never call any strong woman who we hide in a leadership position or any other position, right? Stating like it isn't diversity hire. It is very big notification or a wrong way of telling like it is a diversity hire. No, you have hired somebody with respect to the skills, and that person have come into that leadership position, right? Diversity word we should never use for a woman, say stating like this is some kind of reservation and we are getting them on the boat. No, I strongly condemn this aspect, because no woman will feel happy when we say like you are in diversity high. No, she has come with her skills, and it is in line with the skills that you are expecting as part of the role. That's why she has joined. Diversity can be looked at other areas as well, like language, culture, places, and all the stuff, right? But I often have heard these conversations at leadership level and also at the mid-level managers, like stating like this person have got hired because of the diversity programs that we are there. So and I strongly condemn diversity program should not say like we need to get women on the board and increase our diversity number. That is not how diversity should be looked at. And
Yeah,
I
I
think
was
that
also
is one
thinking
point here.
in a
Yeah.
recent event, I was voicing this very strongly and
Yeah.
saying, I don't want to be on the board or as a top management person just because your company needs to tick the diversity checkbox.
Correct.
I want to be
Yes.
there as a leadership candidate because of what track record and merit I hold and what in future I'm capable of contributing. Why should you tick,
Correct.
as a diversity candidate that you can put anybody, even a male member, you can,
Yes.
with some
Yes.
different, yeah. So, it doesn't have anything to do with me. And if you put me that tag and, don't give me a chance at the table, it's your loss because I'm
Yeah.
going to, serving a company which is worthwhile and where diversity is not the criteria for my selection. It's my merit.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
So,
Uh,
yeah, this was the debate. Yeah.
I think these conversations, what you, me, and Gaurav were having, right? I think indirectly we are also breaking some of the myths in the industry, because when an organization follow these myths, right, like we should not use diversity just to name an woman and stuff, right? They will be also able to create a culture of togetherness or create a culture of progression or innovation and stuff, right? I think that's where young talent can start joining those companies. Otherwise, I think previously, like 3 4 years back, I think pre-COVID, one of the motivation would be across the brand name and the salary that we offer, right? But after COVID, I think the dynamics have completely changed. It's not just brand, it's not just salary. उसके बाद क्या है? What else matter? Like, do you offer me well-being packages? Do you offer me some um, me time, or is there any other inclusive policies exclusively for both men and women as well? Is there any options for learning and development? If I join in this career at this level, will I be able to project to and VP level in a shorter term? So clarity is more important, and most of inclusive policies related to the mental well-being has become very important. And also flexibility have played a greater role in the last 3 to 4 years, right? Like people have started working flexibly, and they also managed able to do the work home, and also some people have started their own businesses and their own hobbies as well, because lots of time has been saved, right? Because you particularly know, like in Bangalore, to go to an office, it definitely take 1 to 2 hours. People started saving that time, and they are spending qualitative time at home as well, right? So I think when organizations wanted people to join, I think they have to create an employee value proposition which is not just based on the salary, or which is not just based on the brand, but they also have to clearly tell like, boss, if you come to our organization, this is what you are going to get apart from the work. I think that is a differentiator that we can talk about. Like work is anyways there, that is where your compensation is being paid, right? But your jobs will be secured. You, when there is another COVID comes, I will not lay off just like that, or maybe I'll invest more time in your learning and development. I will invest more on your well-being. I'll try to get you better insurance policies covering your parents and grandparents also. Maybe I think these type of innovations have to come around, so that the job seekers can get that curiosity to apply the jobs. Okay, so I'll
Great.
give back to
So,
Gaurav.
you know, one thing, one question that I actually get from a lot of job seekers who apply to me is, what sort of cover letter should I send? Is cover letter really necessary in today's age? Does anybody even have time? I mean, we've all heard of, those researches that any HR spends only 3 seconds on your CV. When would he spend any other second on your cover letter? I mean, I've practically, speaking, I have gone through zero cover letters in my 20 years. I mean, are they need to be asked? I mean, a decent mail obviously has to be there, but like getting somebody to write a separate cover letter, what are your thoughts on that? Both of you.
Yeah.
So
So it,
yeah,
yeah.
no, Nitya, you can go first.
Yeah. Okay, so as far as cover letters are concerned, I would prefer that we write something about this on a message that is on a LinkedIn, rather than attach, serious cover letters which nobody is going to touch. So that would be my easy take. Then you're allowed only a certain number of words, and you can't keep on writing forever. So there's very concise messaging, and it gives a brief insight about who you are and why you are applying for this job. That alone, if we are able to pitch on a LinkedIn connection, then that's a safer option than writing winding cover letters. That's my take. But Chiranjeevi, over to you.
Yeah. So coming to cover letters, everybody doesn't require cover letters, but cover letters actually plays a greater role. Where I'll tell you. Within India, I think people are more focused on resume based, but when you start applying jobs abroad, like there are many websites like remote.io or WeWork, Upwork, and stuff, right? These people don't look resumes first, they look at the cover letter, because cover letter description and the job description, if it is in line, then they go to the resume. What they evaluate is like, if this guy is able to write his complete experience and personal experience, professional experience in a one paragraph, stating like, I am good at these things, and if I join in your company, this is what going to happen to you. If this a person can summarize and write it to me, then I'll be able to look for the other aspects of the job. So in the abroad, you look at all the abroad websites or the companies who are from UK, Canada, Ireland, and Dublin, Australia, and most of these companies ask for cover letter. Without cover letter, you can't submit the pitch. That is one. Cover letters are required for the people who have these managerial activities to be worked on. Like they are not at the entry level, they are at the mid level careers, right? So starting from 5 years and it goes above. So cover letters, i- where the job responsibility wanted you not just work on the technical aspects but also team management and team player aspects. That's where cover letters are important, just to give a little brief about like, how did you work, how did you work with the team, how did you work with an organization. So if you ask me, cover letters are important. If you are at the mid-level managers or going to the senior level, cover letter definitely plays a greater role. And let me tell you, most of the CEOs, managing directors, CXOs, and VP level, before they look at the resume, they look at the cover letter, how articulatively they have written the summary of the complete experience. They look at like the content, the way the messaging has been done. So I think cover letter plays a good role for a mid-level managers, particularly in India. As I said, it might not be a mandatory aspect, but if you're applying for abroad, definitely cover letter has to be there. That's where you can crack some of the interviews.
Awesome. Let's continue this conversation probably in the next session. I think we've covered a lot of
Sure.
ground today, and maybe we
Yeah.
can look at the tools and techniques as to how should one actually go about. Then maybe going on to the interview, interview techniques and questions, answers, and those sort of stuff. Great. Thank you so much,
Definitely,
guys.
Gaurav.
I'll see you around for sure, and we will continue the conversation again. Thank you.
Enjoyed being with you folks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nitya. Thank you so much, Gaurav.